What's up, guys? Out here in the garage getting ready for the first big tournament of the year. Redoing some line on some of my rods and reels, putting new line on, fresh line, checking the old line. I'm gonna give you a quick tip on how to conserve line. It can get kind of expensive, especially depending on the kind of line you like to use. Kind of conserve and save a little money on line as you get ready for maybe your first tournament of the year, or just to go fishing as your part of the country thaws out. So here we go. Alright, so I own a lot of rods and reels. I say a lot. For a kayak angler, I think I own a lot of rods and reels. More than I can carry in my boat for sure. But even then, I need to be able to change between setups depending on where I'm fishing. When I travel the country, you know, I may fish a Clearwater Highland Reservoir one weekend, and then 2 weeks later I'm fishing down the Arkansas River or going down to Texas to fish grass or whatever. And I can't afford to strip all my line every time and switch from, you know, say 65-pound braid back to fluorocarbon and vice versa, depending on where I'm fishing. So I've got to be able to save that line if it's still good line, but be able to also, you know, switch between the kind of line I need for the lake I'm going to or the technique I'm going to use. So for instance, right now I've got a Shimano SLX XT that I've got rigged up with 65-pound braid. I was down at Lake Conway for a little charity event a couple weeks ago and was trying to flip old dead grass mats with this braid. Well, next week I'm going to Broken Bow Lake for a tournament. In Broken Bow, for anyone that's not familiar with that, down in Oklahoma, clear water, deep water, rocks. So I don't need this big braid on here. I'm going to switch it out to 20-pound fluorocarbon, but that braid that I put on is brand new. So I don't want to just take it off and throw it away and have to put the new line on again. I want to be able to save it. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So the trick to it is you want to find yourself an old reel that you got laying around. I've got this old Shimano Cardiff, this old swim bait reel that I had that I don't really use anymore, but it's laying around with my stuff. All I'm going to do is reel my good line off of this Shimano SLX onto this old Cardiff, and then I'll save it for the next time I need it. Pretty simple. So I got a little bit of old monofilament that was on that Cardiff. That doesn't really matter. I'm just going to tie a quick little uni to uni to get my braid on there. Pretty simple. Now I'm just going to reel that old line, or that good line, off of this reel until I fill up the spool. I'll just kind of put my fingers on it to keep it somewhat tight. There we go. I'm down to the backing. There we go. I got still got my good brand new braid on this old reel, and I'll save that to when I need to switch back. So another tip to save you some money on line is to get a cheap spool of monofilament, whether it's Berkeley Big Game or this is some old Cabela's monofilament. You can get it for like $5. 10, 12 pound, 15 pound test, whatever you want to do. I like using this a little smaller, like a 10 or 12 pound test. And you want to put backing on all your reels, all your bait casters especially. You can do the same thing on spinning rods or spinning reels. It doesn't seem to be as important. You can just spool those up with straight braid and then put a leader on if you want. But on your bait casters, we're using a lot of expensive fluorocarbon. If you fill the whole spool up with straight $20 or $30 a spool fluorocarbon, you can spend a lot of money real quick. But if you take, you know, a third or a quarter or even up to half the spool full of cheap monofilament and then just tie off to the backing, you can save a lot of money on line. So you can see right here, this one, SLX, has a bunch of monofilament backing already on it. Just tied a loop knot and got that attached correctly. And now I'm gonna put 20-pound fluorocarbon on here, going down to Broken Bow, and I may throw some 3/4 ounce jigs or maybe even a small A-rig on there, but I want that clear line for that clear water. So I'll tie it off to this, and it'll, you know, I only use about maybe, you know, half the spool, and be able to spool up 2, sometimes 3 reels with one spool rather than you know, 1.5, putting all the line on there, and that'll save you some money too. All right, hopefully those tips will help you save a little bit of money on fishing line as we get started in this tournament season. Let me know in the comments what you do, if you have any other tips or tricks to conserve line as we get into tournament season. Thank y'all.